I want to know if you have any tips on how I can change from being a negative person to a more positive, friendly person.
Well, I work with Kelly Daniels, so I've got a lot of insight on this one.
I feel like I tend to be a realist, but I'm also kind of riddled with anxiety. I get nervous a lot, and I have trouble kind of staying present in the moment. Like, feels like no matter what I'm doing, I don't feel like I get excited a whole lot anymore, and I kind of struggle to express the positive things, and I feel like I just express the negative to my friends. Like, I'm trying to be conversational, and then I realize, oh, that sounded really negative.
Yeah.
And I think it just comes out all the time. I feel like I've been stuck in a pattern of negativity for a pretty long time.
Yeah. That's a heavy air to breathe, isn't it? It's exhausting to be awake, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you found it begin to spiral on you? Where you found yourself, man, I'm more negative. And then all of a sudden you look up and 2 years later, it's all the time. Every breath, every thought, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
What is your, and you may not know off the top of your head, but what is your body trying to protect you from? I like to start from a place of our bodies are usually right. And in your situation, bodies are often trying to protect us from unsafe economic situations. You owe a bunch of money, or unsafe work situations. You're being asked to do things that are unethical, or your job may go away at any time, or unsafe or lonely relationship issues. Like you don't have any ride or dies. Your body's identified that you don't have any friends.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe just mean people in general. I feel like maybe I've lost faith in humanity, and I feel like everybody could be judging me at any moment for anything.
They could, but why would it matter?
I don't know why it matters. And I feel like...
Tell me about your mom and dad. How was growing up?
It was good. I had a good childhood. They divorced once all the kids moved out.
Okay. Which tells me there was stuff going on throughout the whole marriage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember in childhood kind of telling my friends I wish they would just get divorced because they did argue a good bit.
Yeah. How did you get your parents' attention?
I don't know. I know I ran away a few times. Not really ran away, but we lived on a few acres, so I would just run to the woods and hide all day. I don't know.
Did you make straight A's growing
pretty
up?
Loud. No.
Okay.
I was on the AB honor roll. I did work really, really hard at school. I think school was harder for me than I ever really realized. Mm-hmm. And I was just working like really hard to get good grades.
Why did you need to get good grades so badly?
I mean, for sure, we reviewed the report card. It definitely felt like it was expected, and I kind of put a competition on me and my siblings. Like, I was always proud that I was the only one who never got an F in college.
Okay.
I feel like I make everything a competition, really.
Well, if coming out on top is the way you survived as a kid, is the way you got distance between you and the next person that was going to get yelled at or ignored or shunned or screamed at or hit, that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that makes sense.
Coming
out on top is definitely
it keeps
feels like a goal.
That's right. Coming out on top can be a trauma response too. And if you have a house with two dysregulated adults screaming at each other, ignoring each other, you can feel the tension in the house all the time so bad that you can go run and sit in the woods. Then coming out on top is a way to get out above the clouds, to get away from that nonsense and get other stable adults to pat you on the back and say, I see you, good job.
For sure.
But the things that were supposed to keep you the most safe in the whole world, your mom and your dad, they didn't. They were too busy with themselves, going to war.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have two competing stories, reality and this other story My childhood was great, which is exactly how you started the call.
Right.
It was heavy. But also, you've been a people pleaser. You've been a peacemaker, peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Your job has been to make sure everybody else is okay forever?
Oh, for sure. I know there was one point in high school where I tried to plan their anniversary date, and I could just tell it was about to fall apart, and I wanted to make something really special for them.
Ashley, you know they didn't get divorced because of you, right?
Yeah.
And you know there's not a damn thing you could have done to keep them together, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes when our whole life has been about squashing what we need, what we want, what we love, what brings us joy, what makes us laugh, squashing all of that in an effort to keep mom and dad together, to keep little brother from getting hit, to keep our grades all perfect so we can get a certificate from the school counselor, the assistant principal. Your body just begins to get rageful because all that crap is trapped in there. You get angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything has a cynical twist. Everything has oh yeah, there's another side to that story. Because you live the other side of the story. Everybody in your neighborhood thought your family was great. Fair?
Yeah.
So I say this a lot on the show, and I'll unpack it a little bit for you. The things that kept you safe as a kid will destroy your adult relationships. It'll make being alive as an adult miserable. The things that kept you safe as a kid was making sure everybody else is okay, to the detriment of your own sanity. The things that kept you safe as a kid was constantly, always being on guard to emotionally regulate the two adults in your life. You've been chasing variables and your whole life. And now you're in a world where who knows what the government, who knows? Can't trust anybody. Education, I don't know. Science, I don't know. Medicine, I don't know. Like the whole world seems to have all the strings pulled on it. And here's the deal. It's so easy to fall into the trap of pessimism and sarcasm. It's all coming down. Oh yeah, you know this. Can you believe? Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's false control. It feels like you're grabbing hold of all the potential bad things. Brene Brown calls it dress rehearsing tragedy. You are pre-thinking all the negative stuff. You're telling everybody. That's how you're trying to bond with the worst things that could possibly happen. And then your body realizes that you're pushing everybody away. They don't want to be around that. You don't want to be around that, right?
Yeah.
Are you married?
I am.
How's your marriage?
Not great.
Tell me about it.
Well, he has a 9 on the ACEs test, or whatever you guys call that. And I mean, I have a 1. You know, my parents argued, but there was no violence or anything. I think I have a 1. I might have a 0. So we come from different worlds.
Hey, Ashley, I can promise you, based on what you've told me, you have more than a 1. For whatever it's worth, the ACEs score is not a competition either.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And your mom and dad don't need you to protect them anymore. Okay?
Okay.
But you married another guy that you're trying to fix, right? Trying to make sure it's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
And you're realizing in real time you can't do anything about that, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've been married 8 years, and we have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And we've just always argued a lot.
Yeah, you got 2 people's bodies in that house, two nervous systems that are just playing whack-a-mole with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things that can be good, you know, for a pretty good time, you know, like 6 months or so. We'll go with no arguments, but we're also not really. We're not connecting on like deep levels.
No,
you know?
it's avoidance.
Superficial.
Yeah, avoidance.
Right.
It's not real peace. It's just a lack of bombs, but there's no peace.
Yeah.
Will your husband will your husband go get counseling? Will he do the work?
No, I don't think he will.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, this last fight we had, it was pretty much, if we don't do counseling, we're gonna have a separation for a while, you know?
What was his response?
He said, okay, we'll do it. This is after, I think year 1 I said we should do it. So we did it. We did 3, and then we kind of just stopped. I think I mentioned to him one time, when would you like to schedule the next one? And he's like, you think we need it? And we just haven't done it again.
Why kept you in that moment from saying, absolutely we do?
Because I feel like, I don't know.
I can tell you, I think you feel like what you actually feel and what you want doesn't matter.
True.
Ashley, you're worth more than that. Your kids are worth more than that. Your husband and your marriage is worth more than that.
Yeah.
Here's your path forward, okay? And it's a rocky, rocky, rocky path. Number 1, you can only control what you can control, and that's your thoughts and your actions, and that's it. That's it. The first thing is you've got to honor your body. Your body's trying to keep you safe. You have a home life that you haven't fully come to reckon with, telling the truth about it. It was hard and scary. You've got a marriage that's really, really tough because you're married to a guy that went through a lot of hurt and hell growing up. You got 2 kids. It's chaotic. You're in the year 8, which is always just a stressful season. Like, your body is right to be bitter about the world. You don't have a safe place, right?
Yeah.
That sounds so cheesy. You have no place where your shoulders drop and you just laugh.
Right.
Right?
I don't.
So your homework assignment is to go be honest about what that place would look like and ask your husband, would you build that with me? And he might say no.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems with me trying to come up to him with something is not that he'll say no. He'll say, well, really, he'll just laugh at me and say, really? And, make it seem like it's something stupid first. And
okay,
so he'll go along with things, but it's only if I'm, pushing it and if I'm pushing it past, the way he's making me feel about it,
So do you want to not have it, or do you want to have it and you carry the lion's share of the weight for the first bit?
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
But there's a sitting down and saying, hey, in the past you make fun of me, you hurt my feelings, you laugh at me. Please don't do that this time. I'm being vulnerable with you. I want to have a different kind of marriage, and I want you to be happy that you're home, and I want to be happy that I'm home. Here's what that looks like. I've written it out for me. I would love for you to write that out for you. And please don't make faces at me. Please don't roll your eyes. And if he dishonors your vulnerability in that way, then that gives you a firmer foundation to deal with the reality that he's not the man that you think he is.
Yeah.
Often, women do it, but men do it the most. They make jokes. They go, "Are you serious?" Because they're so uncomfortable. It's not a pass. It's just a lack of skills. And so they laugh. They roll their eyes. Like, I'm doing that. Most men would love to have the woman of their dreams sit across the table and say, I want to go all in with you. But men are so utilitarian and competency-based, they don't know what that means, how to do that. And so the only way they can protect themselves is by rolling their eyes and laughing. And so, is this a cop-out? No. Is this a way it should be? No. Is this reality? Yes. Sometimes it takes somebody, an interested member of this marriage team, to say, here's what I want this thing to look like. I want to go all in. Here's the roadmap to my heart. I would really appreciate it if you'd give me a roadmap to yours. And I think you need to sit down and be honest about writing a letter to your mom and dad. Don't ever send it, but be honest about what you experienced. I want you to write a letter to 9-year-old you who's running and hiding in the woods because of all the screaming. And I want you to write a letter to 5 years from now you. You're just running the same script you ran as a kid, and it'll keep you distant from hurt, but it's going to always avoid connection. And I want that for you. And he's going to have to make some choices to change his life too. Caitlin, are you there?
I am. Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. So I'm going to bring in your husband, fiance. Who is it?
Fiance, yes.
Fiance. All right. I'm going to bring in your fiance, Rob. Rob, you there?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
All right. What's up, homie? All right. So I got Rob and Caitlin. Y'all both on?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in. How can I help? Let's go. Caitlin, you go first, and then Rob, you respond. I like to make it as dramatic as possible.
Perfect. So my fiance and I are both parents to children from previous marriages. We both have primary custody of our children. So we have a full house and are working through all of the craziness that comes with a blended family. So his son is 6 and my children are 5 and 2. And so the reason that we're calling today is that his son has had some significant behavioral issues predating our relationship, but the growing risk is becoming more prominent as time passes and our kids spend more time together. Just for an example, a couple of weeks ago, all in the same week, his son had hit the babysitter's daughter, got in trouble for physically bullying 2 kids at school, and then even made a death threat toward another student. And at home, he's just disrespectful, doesn't listen, and will lie and try to manipulate us. And while he hasn't physically seriously harmed my kids in the past, there have been instances of hitting or kicking and verbally just being not nice to them pretty regularly. So our question is, I guess my question, while I commend my fiance's efforts to correct and frankly figure out what the issues are, can I or should I continue to subject my children to the reputational, emotional, and physical risk that we see in his son?
I've got a pretty firm answer on that, but Rob, hop in here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, tell me. So Caitlin, I don't want to say put her version on, but like told me the story. Fill in the gaps for me.
So everything that she said is valid. We have been working with my son. I mean, I've been working with my son since he was born. He has a very when me and his mother got divorced, the family home situation for him obviously was torn to pieces, and so until he was 5, he would go back and forth every 3 months from my house to his mother's house. And so he was getting a lot of parallel parenting due to animosity between the two of us.
What's parallel parenting?
So like, you know how, there's co-parenting where you work together, and then parallel parenting is when we can't, there's no communication. Oftentimes it's the complete opposite of what I would do is what she would do. For example, his bedtime there is at midnight, and they don't have dinner. They only snack until midnight. And here, bedtime's 8:30, and we eat dinner, and then we go to, and then that's it.
I have on my notes here. Let me see. So, that he drowned a pet. Tell me about that.
Oh, so both of the boys were down. We have livestock, and both of the boys were down at the barn, and we have turkeys. And so they had, we don't know for sure whose idea it was, but they were like, well, let's see if they can swim, because the turkeys are, they take well to the kids and they're very social animals. And so we weren't there physically, but someone had put one of the turkeys in water and it drowned and died. And then that one was pulled out, and then someone was holding the second turkey. And then when I walked outside to call them in, and the barn is pretty far from the house, so I called them in, and I guess whoever was holding the last bird dropped the bird into the water and then left, and both of them died. Now, there was a lot of remorse there for that. I mean, both of the boys cried a lot, and they understood the loss of life, and they were really disappointed because they spent every day playing with the turkeys. So that's that backstory.
What diagnostics does your son have? Surely you're working with a professional.
Yeah. So his pediatrician said that. He said that he does have severe case of ADHD, which I grew up with that as well, and I still have that.
Wait, you said your pediatrician. Have you sat down and got a psych eval for this kid? So
our psych evals for kids in the greater Colorado or greater Denver area, including Colorado Springs, are 5 to 8 months on a wait list. So even with a referral, we have been unable to get him in to a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist. And I've called, Caitlin could attest to this. I've called at least, since we've been trying to get him in, I've called well over 20, and I'm on the wait list for at least 6.
Even with the violent outbursts?
Yes. They still will not, they won't prioritize or anything. I've tried, and I've told them the full story.
Just school referral?
And even with school referral, I have letters from his school that I share with his pediatrician. And, but even with those letters, I still, aside from taking him to a hospital, which I did talk to them, but they also were saying that that's more of like it's non-emergent.
Yeah, it's an acute thing. I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So, it's like as a father to my son, I'm between a rock and a hard place where the only resource that I have is his pediatrician, which is he's great, but I only have the pediatrician and then a school counselor that pays very close attention to him. And between those two, that's all I have. I've tried to get more support than that, but it's just not available.
Yeah.
And then with the wait list, me and, we're planning on moving out of state in the next 3 months. So
where to?
There's wait list we're planning on moving actually to out east to Nashville.
Okay. I would get on a list ASAP. Here's the, what does your pediatrician diagnose this kid with?
So he's been diagnosed with the ADHD, and then he said, so we're still in trials. We had to adjust the medication. We tried sertraline because there was a lot of depression and like self-harm in there.
Kid 6?
Yes. But his mother used to, when he was a baby, this was part of the reason of the divorce. His mother would do self-harm with him, like around him while I would be at work.
Right.
And I didn't catch this until I put cameras in the house.
Yeah, jeez. So
he does what she did, which is like banging heads against the wall and scratching her face and scratching his hands.
So this is a kid that's experienced a ton of trauma.
Yeah.
You need to get him into a psych eval. You know that, so I'm not going to beat you up over that. Yeah. I can't believe in the greater Denver area there's not somebody that could get him in, but I trust that you love your kid and you're trying.
Yeah.
I do know that you could find a child counselor or therapist. And I would be maniacal. Because that child all the things you're telling me suggest that kid has seen some things that this may not be the format for you to talk about all of it, or there may be some things that you don't know, but that kid has seen darkness. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. The trajectory of this kid is very unsettling.
Yeah.
And
it's very concerning.
It is. And the challenge is his body knows one way to get what it's craving, and that is stability and connection. And it knows one way to do that. And any sort of disruption to that pattern results in these violent outbursts, and they're escalating. And I always want to look at trend lines here. And as you're talking and talking and talking and talking, shoo, this kid has been through hell. That's not why y'all called. You know that stuff. I want to encourage you, somebody, somewhere, because this kid needs to sit with a play therapist in a major, major way. And if you're moving in the next few months, I would get on the wait list ASAP. ASAP. And the second part is you can't have other children 5 and 2 in the house in this situation that aren't siblings. You just can't. Because what they're going to do is they're going to absorb that, both you and your fiance's angst, that challenge, plus the attention that goes to this kid, plus the not feeling safe in their own home. A home for a child has to be the place that is ollie oxen free, like home base, where they can go touch and say, I'm here. Their home is not that. They have an unsafe other kid here. And I know that's hard to hear, man, but I couldn't in good conscience tell you, yeah, you just keep working on it, but I can't, man. It's an unsafe place for that 5 and 2-year-old. And if he's punching kids inside of his own home, sometimes kids act out of context. They'll be really aggressive, at school. They'll be really aggressive here. This is just expanding, and especially in his home. But yeah, that would be my recommendation, man. My number one recommendation would be you got to get with a child counselor ASAP. If you can't get with a psychiatrist, I get it, but man, got to get with a child counselor ASAP.
Okay.
And yeah, I would not feel safe about leaving a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old in this situation. Which I know has all sorts of, y'all got plans, y'all want to move, y'all want to do all this stuff. I get all that. This kid needs some stability in a major, major way.
So another layer to this that we had just talked about and would like your insight on is, and I hear you loud and clear, and it's obviously why I wrote in. But in the instance, just in make-believe land, where we are all a biologically tied together family.
What does that mean?
How would that reaction change?
What's a biologically? Oh, if y'all were
we're all the same parents to the same 3 children.
I mean, it's if I've got a 6-year-old who's experienced severe trauma in isolation of the other 2. So that's what makes this challenging. Is normally it's not just one kid that's experienced this in a family system, right? So, but hypothetically speaking, I have to do what I have to do to protect my kids. If I had to go as far as to get a 1-bedroom apartment and let this kid settle in or go get the medication he needs or be institutionalized for a while because his violence is escalating as a 6-year-old, or what most often happens is a kid experiences sexual trauma at an early age and it just flips the switch and that child becomes a child predator. And that child has to be removed from proximity to other kids, period, point blank, end of story. And it's highly, highly disruptive to entire family units if the situation arises that it only happens to one kid. I haven't worked with I'm just being honest. I haven't worked with families where it's only happened to one kid like that. It's usually everybody's in a big mess. when things begin to escalate like this?
So with the recommendation of, or is it basically the recommendation to split the family, or is it like how would we navigate something like that? Like it's because we don't have. It's not like we have a grand. Like it's not like we have our parents down the road, or it's not like we really have any. Not necessarily easy, but any real efficient way to do that.
None of what's happening is going to be efficient. Every single thing that is before you is going to be hard.
And then with the implications of doing that type of lifestyle to help with my son, which is, something's got to give. And I'm going to continue to work on it and everything. But, if it takes him, however long it takes him, what are the implications on the relationship and the family as a whole? With us not, if she had to move out of state to go with her parents or something.
Hold on. Well, number one, let's get everything in the right order, because everything's getting all jumbled together.
Okay.
Number one, y'all aren't married.
Yeah.
Okay. So y'all are living together and you've put all these kids in a box together. But you have your romantic relationship, which I could almost guarantee you is strained to some degree. Y'all would be supernatural. Maybe y'all are. It would be supernatural if it wasn't strained. And then on the other hand, I have a little boy who with every breath he takes is screaming, "Somebody save me," because I can't. And then I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old who are just wide-eyed, not knowing where the next scary thing is going to come from. All of these are in one big box with their separate issues. And if you try to say, well, what about if I do this, then she has to move in with mom. And then if she decides as your girlfriend, I don't have enough money to move to Nashville, well, that's an issue that y'all need to decide about your romantic relationship. Your priority, Rob, and Caitlin, I'll tell you this, I'd love to see y'all get married and these family come together and all the kids get all the help they need and everything be wonderful. I'd love that. Rob's number one priority right now is his son, period, end of story. And Rob, I know that is devastating. It's exhausting. It's financially maddening. It's unfathomably expensive. You also have the trauma that his mom and whoever she paraded through the house helped create it. Like all of that, I get it. But it is. This is me just loving you enough to say, here's reality. And Caitlin, your number one priority are the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old, your 2 little baby kids. They have to be safe. They have to have as Becky Kennedy says, a sturdy, safe mom. Before y'all decide to blend families. And it almost feels like there's this, like, oh, you're drowning and I'm drowning. If we lock arms together, maybe we can float. And that's not how this is going to play. It won't play out well. I talk too much and y'all got real quiet. So what are y'all thinking?
So I know that none of this is nothing that we haven't been thinking, nothing that we haven't considered. It's just hard, I think, to accept it, just because we did both individually fight so hard for our children, and obviously we'll continue to fight for our children and make them our number one priorities. We were just hoping to be able to do that together in the long run.
I get that. And I don't think that's out of the question. I really don't.
So with that being said, with you saying you don't think it's out of the question, could you elaborate on that? I don't know.
How long have y'all been together?
I don't really know how to go from here.
2 years.
Yeah, probably 2 years
How
now.
long have y'all lived together?
A year.
Well, probably about 12 months.
Okay. And how long has your son, 6-year-old, not seen bio mom?
He goes for the major holidays. He's scheduled to go visit his bio mom in about 2 weeks, and he'll be there for roughly 8 days.
Does
and
his
then
behavior
usually all of his trips.
Does his behavior begin to escalate in the weeks leading up to, and especially on the way back?
Yes, leading up to and on the way back. Yes, this school and at home, everyone has reported that there's a pretty significant impact on his behavior.
All right, so I need you as dad to hear that. Behavior is a language. You got a 6-year-old body saying, please don't do this to me. And at some point that may mean you got to go back to court and get full custody of this kid.
I have full custody, but
Okay.
I would have to somehow she would have to have supervised visitation or something like that.
Or
she already has, very minimal.
Then why do you put this little boy back in an unsafe situation?
Yeah. It's the legal hoops to jump through on that are a lot. And I'm not saying that's not something that I should do.
I know, but
because I do.
Just look at what this little 6-year-old body's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And at some point, he's going to circle around and say, Dad, you saw these videos. You knew some of the stories. The child counselor told you the rest. Why'd you keep putting me back in there, man?
Yeah.
And that same conversations with Caitlin and her 5 and 2-year-old. Mom, why'd you put us in this? So at the end of the day, let's look at it this way. Relationally, y'all are really struggling. Y'all want it to work, and I want it to work for you. Parenting, we had this vision of how this was going to work, and it's going to work great, and we're going to get some stability and some safety, and that's not working. And so, as parents, what we have to do is be the adults and back out and say, all right, this plan that we wanted to work is not going to work. So it's not going to be efficient. It's going to be infinitely more expensive. One of us may have to move, and we may have to be long distance for a season. We may have to live in an apartment instead of a house. We may have to get some help. We may have to move closer to family, whatever the thing is, because the goal is mom and dad have to be stable as individuals in their family context, and these kids have to be safe and get the care they need. And then we can start talking about blending families. Now, if this was a moody teenager, we'll work through that. This is a violent child who is clearly, and by the way, when I say violent child, I'm not saying they're the problem, but I am saying that behavior's got to be dealt with downstream. Okay? I love this little boy. I want to hug him. Like, just hearing about him, I want to hug him. With all my guts, I want to hug this little boy because I can just imagine he's been through hell.
That's what's hard about it is when, there's a lot of things that are hard about it, but that's one of the hardest things for me as his dad is, I raised him from, his mother didn't breastfeed. She didn't want to take the time or the effort. I fed him from day one all the way through to now. And it's really hard seeing him, when he was 3 and even 4, he hadn't really developed these issues they didn't really come to fruition. But then now that he's getting older, he's forming his own thoughts. He's really he's trying to process things. And he is one of the most loving, kind, amazing kids that anyone could imagine. And then we have just these, he'll flip and and it's something as simple as, well, somebody didn't want to share something with me, so I pushed them.
Right.
And it's just, but he'll spend hours, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, not every day, but quite frequently
playing with Caitlin's 2-year-old. And I mean, they're like best friends. And then, the next day or even later that evening, he'll be like, "Ooh, gross, a baby."
Right.
And I'm like, "Buddy, you just gave her a kiss on the forehead and told her you loved her an hour ago. And now you're saying, 'Ooh, gross, a baby. I don't want you in my room. Don't touch me.'" Like, I don't. It's really challenging to navigate.
In the challenge for an adult, often working with a young kid, is taking our adult rational mind and dropping it into a body that growth-wise, hormonally, trauma-wise, and just skills. Just having the skills on how to navigate feelings that feel like jet fuel.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that. He doesn't have a model of that. And he's got a little body that is still trying to figure out where mom is because their heartbeats are connected.
And that's the other tough thing too, is with the dynamic, the family dynamic that we've had over the past year of living together. I mean, there's not a sentence that he says to Caitlin that doesn't include something along the line. I mean, he calls her mom. Her kids call me dad. He won't leave for the bus without trying to get a kiss or a hug or something. And I mean, like last night, me and him spent the night or the evening, because the kids and mom were in town, and we spent the evening cleaning, and he was just excited about how happy she was going to be when she got home and saw the house clean. And it's just, there's the logical understanding of like, okay, well, if, given his current state, the logical thing would be to, separate him from, or separate basically. But then also I'm worried about the emotional impacts, not only on him, but her kids as well. And
listen, all of I get that, totally get that. And there's no question it'll be disruptive. No question about that. But what we're not dealing with in this particular moment, what we're not dealing with is impact, emotional feelings. We're dealing with safety. And safety has to trump. It has to come over the top. And if we see escalating behaviors and unsafe behaviors, and suddenly he's went from shoving a kid to closed fist, hitting a kid, went from accidentally drowning an animal to, I'm just going to drop the other one in there and see what happens. Of course, there's remorse on the other side. I don't think he's a sociopath. But I think that the impact mom has had on his life, his bio mom, and her demons, and her handing those demons over to her son, literally. I think he needs some professional intervention ASAP. This may be as simple as, I don't say as simple as, this one will be tough. But it may be as straightforward as him sitting with a child play therapist and learning some skills. Sitting with an occupational therapist and sitting with some professionals who can teach him some skills, teach you some skills. You doing the hard thing about the legal matters, he doesn't need to be around mom anymore. If mom is not safe, if mom's home is not safe, if the men that mom brings into the home are not safe, the baby doesn't need to be there anymore. Or 6-year-old doesn't need to be there anymore, period. There may be a season of separation. And there may be some more angst on the heels of that. We're dealing with safety here, not feelings and emotions. Safety. Once he begins to learn safety, we don't hit other people. We don't assault other people. We don't hurt animals. We don't respond to our lack of power with violence. Now we're going to talk about what does it look like to blend a family. A family that's experienced trauma, a family that's experienced loss, a family that's experienced all those things. Guys, and I know, listen, I'd hug you both if you were here. I know this is hard. And like Caitlin said, I think this is something y'all have been wrestling with. And so my promise on the show is I'm going to tell you the truth. And I hate it for you. I hate this is what I'm having to pass along. And I hate the state of child psychiatric care that you can't get in to see somebody when you got a baby that's, your child is hurting. But find a counselor, find a therapist, ask your school counselor if they can refer you to somebody. There's going to be people in the local network that your school counselor can send you to that maybe it's just a licensed marriage and family therapist, a counselor, a social worker, somebody, a licensed play therapist that can teach your kids some skills. Whew. And forensically, get some info on what he's actually experienced, because my gut tells me he's been through hell. Your kids are lucky that y'all love them. I'm proud of y'all for fighting for them, but the fight's just begun.
How can I be a more fun parent while still raising good kids? The background is, for context, I am married to an amazing guy. He's the father of both of our kids. We share the responsibilities of raising and disciplining our kiddos when need be. But my husband is super creative when it comes to playing with the kids, where I am more tightly wound, and I cannot seem to relax. I've taken advice from your show. We've purchased the Questions for Humans family editions, incorporated biweekly breakfast dates before school with the kiddos. I purchased books. But there are times during my one-on-ones with my kids that I feel like my body is just pulling me away and just shutting down. So I want my kids to see that I can also relax and be fun and it not just be dad.
Dude, you're awesome.
Thanks. I don't feel like it some days.
I know. But I want you to hear what you're able to do. I mean, this is usually like 5 months of therapy. You're able to have a picture of who you think you want to be. And I'll challenge that picture in a second, but I love that you have one. And you also aren't burning your husband down because he happens to be the thing that you wish you were. Because that's usually what most people do. It's easy to be like, he never did. But you're like, no, I'm going to be fair. He is a great husband, and he's also obnoxiously fun, and it drives me crazy, but I love it, right? And
he's the best.
You're able to feel your own body as it's doing what it's doing to try to keep you safe. And the tragedy here is it's trying to keep you safe when you are under the direct gaze of one of your kids, and we'll get into that. But most people they just blame and blame and blame. And for you to be this self-aware is amazing. So you're awesome. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Good call. That tells me you've done a ton of work and introspective work, just thinking through all this stuff. So good for you. All right, I'm going to throw a couple of questions up against the wall, okay? And see what sticks, okay?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Depending on where I think this is going to go, this could be hilarious and really awkward. Is that okay?
Totally fine.
You positive?
Positive.
All right, same team. I'm not trying to be weirdo, but I'm being serious, okay?
Okay.
But also I'm smiling. Don't go into like super graphic detail, but give me a high level time you just wowed your husband. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we were talking from his perspective, that would be every day. His comment is a lot of times that I'm a sight for sore eyes, and I'm like, I don't see that.
Uh-huh. Forget he didn't get a vote on this one.
I know.
You.
Oh, gosh. I honestly can't pinpoint. Like if we go out for a date night, obviously I'll put more effort into getting dressed up and,
sure,
making myself look nice. So, I mean, if we're going to pinpoint something, I could say that for sure.
No. I'm talking about I'm going to be comically sexual and I'm going to blow his mind.
That would probably be on a random day that I will text him hey, when we get home, this is the plan for tonight.
Okay.
Kids need to go to bed early. We've taken those cues from your show.
Okay.
And tried to incorporate that because, having 2 kids is hectic.
Of course. It's mayhem. Yeah. And does he love that?
Oh, he does. He plays right back with him.
Cool. And when he plays back, does that light you up or does that make you start to disappear in your own body?
No, it lights me up.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So, all right, that's question number 1. So I know that's, you don't sound like a person like me, at the dinner table. And I'm like, hey, Anyway, I bet our dinner conversations are very different, and I love that. Okay.
No, my husband is more like you.
Okay. All right. So here's the second thing. What evidence do you have that you're not fun?
I think it's when I can just see my kids more gravitate towards my husband for like the fun outlet. I'm more the one they come to for the conversations of like, I like somebody in school, or I'm having difficulty in school with a particular individual. So I think we're both safe spaces, but it seems like they'll gravitate more towards him for the fun. And sometimes I feel like I kind of get left out.
All right. So as you're saying that, in my house, as you can imagine, I have the same dynamic. And my dream is one day my kids will be like, Dad, I super am in love with some guy or some girl. And they don't. They go to my wife. You know when they come to me? When my daughter goes, Dad, it's time for couch fight, part 2.
Yeah.
And then she attacks me on the couch and jumps off the thing and then we're in WWE. And then my son comes by and, like he bumps me, I bump him back. And then now we're like, hey, Dad, you want to go fishing? Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Dad, you want to go wrestle in the backyard? Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Mom, I'm really struggling. And I'm like, hey, why don't you talk to me about this? What I do for a living? And they're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And so I'm asking you, I would love to be in your position. So what is it about this position? Hey, Mom, couch fight. Now it's time. And your first thought is, oh, I don't want to mess up the cushions, right? Or, hey, you have homework to do. Or, hey, I don't want to mess something up. Last night we were watching, it was the 100 years of the Opry, right? And so they had all these old country stars, and I think I've talked on this show. My son is obsessed with 90s country. And it was just like, coming up next, Garth Brooks, coming up next, Clint Black, coming up next. And he goes to bed pretty early, and I was like, dude, you're staying up for this one. He's like, oh, yeah. And my wife's like, he's got to go to bed. And then the next one would come up and be like, coming up next, Garth Brooks. I'm like, Hank, you got to watch it. Anyway, it'd be like an hour and a half later. And I was like, he's got to live. And she's like, he's got to, right? But all three of us were laughing the whole time. So I'm asking you, like, what is it about your role that feels sacred and holy for your kids as a not in a religious sense, but like as a place for them to land? And you're like, no, I want this one.
Can you ask me that a different way?
Yeah. What is it about your kids trusting you enough with their inner world that you don't like that role as much as you would like to just be able to throw water balloons at them?
I think it's going back to constantly having conversations with them of, you can tell me anything. I may be upset, but I'm never going to be angry.
Okay. I know, but you would rather them say, hey, Mom, let's do couch fight.
No, not all the time. I do like the role, but occasionally I realize that like that's where Dad maybe shines. Like I'll come home and there's boxes all over the living room and they've made a tunnel. And I'm just like, and I'm like, that's awesome. But then I feel like, oh, I wish I could have thought of that.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I've struggled.
Where's that voice? Where's that voice come from?
I would 100% say it comes from my childhood of not having a present parental figure who wanted to play with me. It was always like, hey, you need to go on your own and figure things out or go find friends.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like I'm lacking in that area.
Okay. So hear me say this in like same team, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those things, like I heard a comedian say, like, he was just making fun of like, how do you lose weight? Like diet and exercise. Like it sounds so easy, but it's like $1 trillion industry, right?
Right.
It's the solution here is actually incredibly simple, but it only is going to work if you give yourself a ton of grace because it's going to feel awkward.
Right.
Okay. Simple as this. That angst, that kind of feeling frozen, like I feel like, well, I want to do something fun, but I don't even know what to do. And then all of a sudden your husband comes in and everybody's wearing oven mitts and they're slapping each other with them. And you're like, I would have never thought of that, right? And everyone's laughing, having fun. And you're like, I wish I could. It is you literally plotting it out. Wednesday afternoon, I'm going to have a bucket of water balloons. And when my kids, I'm going to say, hey, can y'all come outside real quick? I'm going to have a bucket behind the door for them. And I'm just going to be on the other side of the yard. And I'm just going to start letting them have it. And it's going to feel awkward. I'm going to feel like this isn't going to work. I'm going to feel weird. I don't want to get wet. Like whatever the thing. And then here's the magic. Go try it anyway.
Right.
I'm going to go buy 5 sticks of butter, and me and my kids are going to have a butter carving contest, and whoever wins gets a bag of Kit Kat. Something absurd, right? Just ridiculous. But I am going to just be ridiculous. We're going to have a mayonnaise carving contest. And like whatever the weird thing is, it kind of like this. Like whenever you have 2 kids, like the old marriage adage is like, you can have sex on the calendar or you can not have it. But the days of like y'all just winking at each other and it's like 9:00 and you're having a beer and like, let's just like, that's over. Like you got 2 kids running around, like everything's tired, but you still want to be together, right? So we're going to put on the calendar. Same here. You're practicing your way into this. And
that makes sense.
It's a matter of just giving yourself permission. And here's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping you begin, not teach your mind, because your mind knows. We have to teach your body that's still running on 7-year-old you technology. That it wasn't okay to be silly. Dads aren't supposed to be silly with their kids. Moms aren't silly with their kids. Moms aren't a part of the fun stuff, right? I want your body to begin to feel how fun it is and how hilarious it is. There's going to be some days you get tired and your kids, y'all are going to be making jokes and you're just going to start crying. That's okay. Or one of your kids, y'all are going to be whapping each other with, I don't know, paper towel rolls or something, and someone's going to get hurt and then you're instantly going to be 9 again. You're not supposed to do that. That's okay. We're just practicing our way into being silly.
Yeah.
And on the other side, can I throw a counterweight to this whole conversation?
Sure.
My wife has reminded me over the 23 years of being married, I get to be silly and wild and crazy because the mental load she carries all of the time.
I didn't think about it like that.
And sometimes your body may not be letting you just cut loose because it is carrying every doctor and dentist appointment and can't wear this color on this day at school, but this other kid's got to do this at school, and don't forget next week is this. And there's a parent conference, and braces just fell out, and the dog needs to get. And then dad comes home from work, and his mental load is much less. And so it's really been helpful in my house to sit down and say, okay, let me take some of the mental load from you. And that actually like literally frees up space for creativity and excitement and fun. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your husband can be amazing and have no idea what you're carrying. Why? Do you know who my dentist is? I don't. I have no idea. I forget every time. Every time. And like, I can't tell you the number of times I've had to pay the extra $70 for new x-rays because I went to the wrong new place. And it would never have occurred to me to know like when my dentist is open and when they're not, like, I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? And so on the other side, you may have your dentist, kid's dentist, like this dentist doesn't work on Mondays, but this one does. And this one's recommending braces, but I need to talk about this one with this one cavity. And he has no idea. That doesn't make him a bad guy. It makes him uninformed.
No, I think you're right, because I've placed myself in that role with being a type A personality where I have to be in control and I have to see all of, like you said, the finances and the doctor's appointments and dentist appointments, that sometimes I forget that he can also carry that weight.
Yes, and you know what?
And he's asked.
It would be honoring to him. And that means you have to go all the way back to that 9-year-old girl and take a knee in front of her and let her know, hey, controlling every stray variable kept you safe as a kid.
It did.
And I'm sorry you had to do that. But now you got a ride or die partner. We made it. We made it. I married really well. We got a gang now.
Yeah.
And that thing that kept me safe as a kid is making me have less joy as an adult. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not sacrificing joy with these 2 knuckleheaded kids. The time I had with them is too short. And then let's be real intentional about practicing being silly, right? Practicing those All right, when they get home, we're going to throw SpaghettiOs on each other in the backyard. I don't know what you're going to do, but just decide we're going to be silly. Hey, kids, we got some, I don't know, some old something, and we're going to cause some problems with it. Or get a couple of Zebco reels and say, we're going fishing. Do you know how to fish, Mom? Nope. And we're going to figure it out. And whoever wins gets to pick where we eat on the way home or whatever's going on. But we're going to schedule silly until our bodies feel, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And it's the same way I have to schedule intentionality. I have to schedule paying attention. And I always feel how good it feels when I get something done by the deadline. It just feels amazing.
I am in a, I guess, unique situation for me. My wife and I have been married about 3.5 years. 2 years in on the dot. It happened actually the night before our 2-year anniversary. My wife had a little bit of a break, that's to put it lightly, and she ended up having an affair. There was an emotional affair that had gone on for months before that I was very much aware of. And, you know, we would talk about it. It would go away. It would come back up. And then I think it all boiled over in a physical affair with a completely different guy, basically a stranger, the night before our 2-year anniversary. So obviously that blew our lives up. Probably the hardest thing I've ever had to walk through in my life. And that was about 1.5 years ago. But I made the decision of we are going to double down, and at the end of the day, when I go and meet my maker, I want to say we gave it all we had. And man, it's worked really well since then through a combination of friends, family pouring into us, people from church, literal just miracles. I didn't think we'd be here. Our marriage is currently better than it's ever been. However, dude, I feel like a wreck sometimes.
Yep.
I'm just tired. And I think I'm struggling with a lot of trust things that I know in my head I can go a little bit easier, but I just feel like I'm really stepping in and trying to control everything. And I don't know if that's a place out of insecurity. You know, there's always that voice in my head that is like, life is always going to be different. And I think I know that the perspective I have to have is I can't view it as we're trying to fix an old relationship. We have a new one. It's just tough, dude.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Can I ask you a couple of hard questions?
Absolutely.
So, how often are you driving down the road on the way to work and you're at a stoplight and boom, an image pops into your mind of her with that guy?
Honestly, man, almost never.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me keep asking questions.
Yeah.
How often does she leave, I don't know, something in the sink and you walk by and you go to insta rage? Like you just find yourself like, oh my gosh, like disproportionately getting mad.
I wouldn't say that specific scenario. However, I do frequently have moments where I think normal, like marital stuff will come up, and it just flips a switch on me where I'm like, why did I fight for this?
Yes. Okay, let me tell you, like, as directly as I can, you're not crazy.
I appreciate that.
You're not nuts. This is the repairing and rebuilding process. Because here's what's crazy. If you've been married 3.5 years now.
Yep.
Pulling the affair out, pretend that never happened. You would be having moments where you ask yourself, why did I get married?
Sure. Yeah.
And people think if they have that thought, if they have a week of that thought, if they are like, why did I do this? Or you run into an ex-girlfriend somewhere and you just wonder like, oh my gosh, she's still beautiful. It's suddenly, you're a bad person. You're not a good person of your faith. Your marriage, you never should have got married. All that is nonsense. That just means you're a person. That means you're a human being. So I want to give you some peace. Those thoughts, why did I even fight for this? I had a chance to get out with my faith. I had a chance to get out. All my friends and family would have been like, oh, hell yeah, get out of here, dude. And I stuck it out. All of those feelings and thoughts are normal. What matters is, what's the next right move you make? Are you taking actionable steps, both in the thoughts you choose to think, in the thoughts you choose to meditate on, and in the next loving action you take? And are you working towards building the life that you and your wife have decided we want to co-create together? That we want to build anew?
Yeah. I would like to answer that and say yes, but I think where my struggle comes up is, dude, I'll just have things that'll set me off. Like, I think I have a really good example from yesterday.
Okay, go for it.
I had a phenomenal day yesterday. Great work day, was super productive, got a lot done. I got a lot of positive feedback from stuff. My wife and I were communicating well the entire day. I go home, I'm waiting on her to come home, and just out of curiosity, I was going to do some chores around the house, so I went up and I tracked her location on my phone. I saw that she was probably 5 minutes from the house, so I thought, oh, that's great. I can get all this stuff done. Like 10 minutes go by, she's not there. Just sheerly out of curiosity, I open my phone again, and she's suddenly across town. And dude, that made me shut down.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there.
Yeah.
Completely and totally rational, normal, and okay. It doesn't make you a bad husband. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean this attempt to rebuild is somehow going wrong. It's all good. I would have felt the exact same thing. I've been married to the same person for 23 years, and to my knowledge, she's never cheated on me. And I would have had that same, like, what's happening? Where's she going? What's going on here? And if I was a year and a half out of her just going off the rails, like Randy Rhoads style, and hooking up with a stranger, of course you would have that. Of course.
Yeah.
And so let's pause. What's the next thing you did?
Honestly, man, I kind of just turned into a zombie.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like those moments, whenever they come up, it's like, I've been a pretty emotionally level dude my entire life. I'm a super glass half full person. But it really did just like throw off the rest of my day. And, you know, in the end, she just decided to get gas and took the wrong exit. That's all it was. And I do trust her, you know, like since everything happened, I've got, you know, like all her social media on my phone. She offered that up, like, you know, and I'm not silly enough to think that a grown adult, you know, couldn't hide something from another. But I know in my head that nothing's going on. Because I mean, in all reality, when stuff was going on, I could just feel it in my soul, you know?
Right. So can I tell you the path? Here's the path.
Yeah.
You're not going to like it. And people listening they're going to leave me a bunch of mean comments on this one. I can already tell you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you really ready?
I hope so.
Take her tracking location off your phone. Take her social media off your phone. Because you've got at some point take the training wheels off your bike again and risk falling over.
Okay.
Because you're a year and a half in, you say you could feel it. You could say you kind of have a sense, you kind of know. But you have to begin to walk uncomfortably again and risk getting hurt that badly again. Or you're just going to turn into a glorified third parent for her.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, you hit it on the head right there. I kind of feel this guilt that I am not, how do I say this? I am not able to champion her as my wife because I feel like when I spiral, I have to control everything.
That's right. And you have to learn, even the way you describe your day. I was very productive. I got positive feedback. I got this. I got this. What I really want to know who you are, the way I'll really know who you are, is who are you when the workday sucks and your boss says, hey, this report you turned in was awful. ChatGPT could have done this better than you. Get out. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And you drive home and you get a flat tire, and your car's almost out of gas and you barely make it. And then when you get home, your wife's not home. That's going to tell me if you're healed or not. Because you're going to have a bad day and you're going to be frustrated, and then you're going to be annoyed. And then I want to know, what do you do next?
Yeah, you're right. I don't like that advice, but it's needed, and I recognize the wisdom of it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want you to make a big deal of it.
Okay.
I want you to have some sort of thing with just you and your wife where you show her your phone and you say, I feel like I have become in my soul your dad, and I'm not your dad. I'm your husband. I love you. And the only way this rebuild that we're doing that we can fully rest in it, in a hammock on the front porch of this new house we're building together, and I want her to see you delete the whole thing off. And you look at her and say, I'm trusting you again, and I'm trusting you to hurt me as bad as you did that one time, and I'm trusting that's never going to happen again.
Wow. Okay.
And then you're going to feel wobbly. You're going to feel disoriented. And here's the next scary thing. When you feel that, like, where is she? She's not here. That's a normal feeling, dude. I want you to pick up the phone and call. And say, hey, I'm just checking in. How are you? And when you don't do that, and you actually just go to the location, and then you go to the location again, and then you check your social media again, what you're doing is you're actually using those things as a Xanax, as a way to avoid the actual scary thing that could actually happen. You call and she doesn't answer, and you know what that means. Because you remember that night you were calling and calling and calling, and she didn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
And so having all these proxies feels good, but it's not. It's like people who tell me they've have a relationship with ChatGPT now. You can, but ChatGPT is not going to cry at your funeral.
Jeez, yeah, that's a crazy one.
Or it's like watching a lot of pornography. You can watch a lot of crazy cool sex and a lot of beautiful people doing it, but that's not being with somebody in your room by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so all these things are cool. They're all proxies. But I would love for you to have an event. You are my wife. And here we go. I'm jumping off the high dive again into something we're making together. So give that a shot. And when you feel uncomfortable, have a couple of things already pre-written out. Maybe carry a note card with you. I've done that for a season. Write on a note card. I will call when I feel awkward. And tell her, I'm not going to track you, but I will call. I'll shoot you. No, I'm not even going to text. I don't want any more electronic communication. I'm going to call you. I'm going to FaceTime you. Say hi. I love you. How can I love you right now? Or I'm just going to go do the chores because it's the next right thing. And if I'm like, where is she at? I'll call her. I'll reach out. Or I'm going to go for a walk real quick. Or I'm going to call a friend real quick. I'm going to have a couple of behaviors in the chute ready to go when my body starts to spin out on me because my body's just trying to take care of me and you're not crazy. So give that a shot, my brother. Whoo! Welcome back. And hey, I'm proud of you. What you did is hard. What you did, most people wouldn't do, and that's okay. What you're doing is hard, and what you're trying to rebuild is amazing. And I'm proud of you for going all in. All in. Now it's time to go all the way in. All right, let's go out to Fort Myers, Florida, and talk to Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, what's going on?
Hey, Dr. John.
How are you?
Oh, I'm just peachy.
That is the universal sign, universal word of kind of crappy. I've never met somebody who says, I'm doing peachy, and they actually are doing great. So what's going on, Rebecca? How's your world?
Oh, my world is very busy right now, but that's okay. So I am calling because 4 years ago, the day before Mother's Day, I lost my mom.
Oh
my
man.
God. Yeah.
How'd she pass away?
Not of natural causes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very traumatic to our family because, and so there's 4 of us siblings and everything, and, the 3 of us seem to deal with it okay, but my one sister, she's, really dwelling on it, and I understand, people grieve different, but I think she's getting obsessive. She's drinking, she's just being really obsessed about it. And, you know, it's like I got into the point where like I don't want to get sucked into the drama of it. And, you know, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to deal with her because, you know, me and her are the closer in age and we grew up and we went through a lot together.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want to completely shut her out, but I'm at the point of like I want to because I don't want to get sucked into it.
Absolutely.
Especially when she probably said to me, well, you don't understand. You didn't lose your mom. And I'm like, wait, she had me, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. But okay, I don't understand.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
So real quick, when you say she didn't die of natural causes, does that mean, did she take her own life?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm okay with it. So I can be frank because it's just when I tell people, they kind of get really weirded out about it.
Have you ever heard my show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I listen to you guys religiously, I would say.
Yeah, there's not a lot of weird left. So go ahead.
So my stepdad, who basically raised me and me and my sister,
mm-hmm.
That's our stepdad, and then our brother and sister, that's their dad. He has schizophrenia, and so after 20-some years, he had an episode, and he ended up stabbing my mom to death, and then calling the police saying that he murdered his wife.
Okay.
And so no, when I say natural causes, I mean, yeah.
No, gotcha. Okay, so this was a exclamation point trauma, right? This isn't a trauma like somebody passed away from cancer. This isn't somebody took their own life. This is something that was a violent, horrific evil. Okay. And so you said you and the other two of you, is it brothers and sisters, all sisters?
Yeah, I have one brother and I have 2 sisters.
Okay, so one of your brother and one of your sisters, y'all have dealt with it okay. When anyone says I've dealt with it okay, I call bullcrap, but tell me what that means. What does I've dealt with it okay mean?
Well, okay, so my brother and my sister, that's their dad, right? And all that. And, you know, I mean, we kind of knew, he was sick and stuff. But, I mean, we always knew when an episode was going to happen but he would never hurt us or my mom or anybody. It would try to take his own life. So when this happened this way, it was a big shocker to all of us. So, but it's okay, you know, I guess we're at peace with it. But she is not at peace with it.
When you say you're at peace with it, what does that mean?
I know where my mom is, and, you know, I know one day I'll see her. You know, I probably cried maybe 3 times over it. I did grief sharing. I did not care for the grief sharing because once she gets in my story, everybody wants to hang on it because you don't every day meet somebody that's in that situation. Usually people die of sickness or something like that.
It's sensational. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be sensational. But
okay. So when you say this is 4 years ago, so you were able to tell me about it and you laughed a little bit before. So you're able to talk about it without your eyes welling up anymore. You're able to have that conversation. It's not fun or pleasant. It's never something you're like, hey, guess what? But you're able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But and I know you know the answer to this. I'm going to ask you this question for the average listener. You can 4 years later, quote unquote, be on a healing path, right? But you still miss your mom, right?
Oh, of course. I miss her every day. I mean, before it all happened, I talked to her every day on the phone.
That's right.
You know, because my husband's a truck driver, so I talked to him on the phone, then I talked to her on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, it was a routine.
I want people listening to know healing doesn't mean you just don't think about it anymore and you're all good. Healing means you can breathe, right? You can laugh again. Yeah. You can go to somebody's birthday party again. You can actually open a Christmas present again or experience Mother's Day again, right? Without hyperventilating, right? Without your body taking over. So, okay, so when you say your sister she can't process it. She can't deal with it. What does that mean? She's drinking a lot. What else?
Last year around 4th of July, because, you know, my husband has some issues in the past. So, you know, he's a recovered addict, been clean for 8 years. and all that stuff. So she's like, well, let me talk to him. Well, at the time we were all dealing with COVID, and, he's sleeping sick as a dog. And I'm like, well, he's sleeping sick. And he's like, well, she goes, well, you don't understand. I need to talk to him. And I'm like, you can't. So then she sent me a picture with a cord wrap around her neck, and then she lives in New York. I live in Florida. So I had to call the police department up there and be like, hey.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you, Rebecca.
So I did that and all that. And then, but then like I got kind of bullied by her friends. Well, you're not here. You're not being compassionate. And it's like, well, I live in Florida. She lives in New York. Yeah. I mean, I'm as compassionate and as there as I possibly can, my husband and I were talking about it. He thinks because I have my kids and my family, my brother has his job and everything, and my other sister has her kids, that my sister doesn't have anything like we do, and that's probably why she's dwelling on it.
So, answering one thing here, her friends don't get a vote in how you run your life, okay?
Yeah.
They don't get to tell you the right way to talk to your sister, deal with your sister, etc. That's your sister, and they may know her better than you by now. They may interact with her every day. They don't get a vote, right? If you're gonna call the police, good for you. I'm proud of you. I know it was a hard phone call. Good for you. The second thing is I think there may be some merit to what your husband's saying. A key component of healing from grief over time is relationships with other people, especially relationships where you can show up and have your good days and have your really, really dark days, and you're still loved. And that someone is going to expect you to be there. Someone's going to expect you to wake up. Someone's going to show up when you can't get out of bed, right? That's part of the healing process. And yes, there is something about isolation. Here's the thing. I don't really care the why here. Okay? The reality of this situation is some people don't come back from trauma like this. And I say don't come back. Some people cannot say goodbye to their mom when they die. Some people cannot let go of that feeling, because if they let go of the feeling, then mom's finally gone. Dad's finally out of here. And that's a really tall ask for some folks. And so at the end of the day, 4 years later, is it wrong that she still thinks of mom and gets her heart broken and cries? No, absolutely not. Everybody does that differently, right? But if she is putting her burden on you, right, then at some point you got to let her know, I love you more than life itself. I'm your sister. I will always be there for you. You can call me at any time. I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just about you establishing your boundaries. And so what I would love for you and your husband to do is to come up with, hey, what's your husband's name?
His name is Randy.
Hey, Randy, when I talk to sister and I just hang up the phone and I'm devastated, or I'm all spun up, or I just come to you and I'm like, hey, I need a couple of tall boys to make my day better, right? Whatever you happen to be. Ask him, what are the things that she's told me? Or you may know, what are the things that really spin you up? And that's what you have a direct conversation with her and say, hey, you grieve how you need to grieve. I love you. I'm not talking about this with you anymore. You can talk about it with a counselor, with a pastor, with a therapist, with your friends. I am not going to continue to entertain X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not you loving her any less. In fact, often when people are spiraling and they're hurting, having boundaries becomes a great, great gift. And if she does haul off and hurt herself, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you the oldest?
I get it. I am. I'm the oldest out of all of us.
And so let me give you another. How much older are you than her? How far are y'all apart?
I am 3 years older than her.
Okay. Sometimes there's this, it's a nerdy psych word called transference. In some ways, you might become mom for her now. And she needs your approval. She needs you to listen. She needs to whine and complain to you the same way you used to do to your mother. And more importantly, if she has transferred mom to you, there's a part of her brain that says at any moment you're going to go next. And so every conversation becomes about how can I grab onto you? How can I hold tightly onto you? almost to the point that it strangles you, right? Or that it, like a little kid gets around your legs and you can't walk. It kind of feels like that, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just you, just like any good older sister, any sibling, any friend, any mom, any dad. You got to develop your boundaries. And then she's going to have the healing work if she wants to do it. I do think in this situation, I've seen it over and over, writing her a letter that she can hold in her hand. You've heard me say that a million times. Writing her a letter she can hold in her hand and read and let her know, I love you. And I think it's time for all of us to let mom go. And then if she calls you back and says, you don't understand, it's not this and that, then you've done what you can do there. And then you're going to draw these boundaries. I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
Yeah.
Is that something you can do?
Oh, yeah. I can do that.
Awesome. And if she's willing to, have her call the show. I'd love to talk to her too.
Oh, she loves you guys, so I'll probably convince her.
Yeah, have her call, and she can say, I'm the sister. My older sister's the worst. Rebecca in Florida's terrible, right? She wouldn't do that, but at the end of the day, how she grieves is how she grieves. There is a point. I always am really hesitant to say someone should be over something by now, because that means something. It means something different to so many people. What does over it mean? That you're not crying? Man, you can be dead on the inside and not crying. You can be completely out of tears, or you can cry every day and be totally functional. You just miss somebody. And some people cry when they miss people, and some people laugh when they miss people, and some people are just annoying to be around when they miss people. It's different for everybody. So I'm never going to say, you got to be over it by now. We got to get up and get going. Like, you got to be, I'm not going to say that, but there is a moment when you have to, whether it's a process, whether it's a funeral, a second funeral, hey, I want to get all the brothers and sisters back. Like, we've had 4 years to think through this. I want us to all, like, we're gonna let mom go. Like, we've been all struggling with this, dealing with this in our own little ways. We're gonna let mom go. Whatever that looks like for you, having some sort of moment, and then you got to be around people who are going to witness your grief and then help you move on. Not move on, but help you come to terms with your new life, right? So yeah, reach out to her, tell her you love her, write her a letter, and then draw some boundaries. We're not going to talk about mom anymore. Or we're going to talk about mom in this way, not in that way. I'm not going to talk about your alcohol. I've told you this we would help you with recovery. I told you we'd help you with mental health challenges. I told you we'd do those things. You're choosing not to, and that's okay, but I'm not going to be a part of it anymore, right? Thank you so much for that call, Breck. I know it's hard, and I know it's messy, and I know everybody does grief differently. At this point, you've got to make sure you and your husband are well, right? You and your husband, your kids. So thank you so much for that call. All right, let's go to Katie in Dickinson, North Dakota. Katie, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
Good. How can I help you this morning?
Well, I was calling because a couple years ago, Ryan and I, my husband and I, we went through a really tough time. We moved out to this rural place in North Dakota, and I just started living this kind of single life, even though we were still married. And
what does that mean? What does that mean?
Just like, so he was working nights, and I had a bunch of time to myself. I was working remotely. I didn't get a lot of adult interaction, so I picked up like an extra job, and after my job, I would go out every night, and I would stay out late, and I was, making friends with guys, and even though it was platonic, like I didn't understand how, I guess irresponsible or not okay that was. And so there was a lot of trust issues, just because then he was kind of trying to forbid me to hang out with these guys, and I didn't really get it and how important it was to him, and so I just didn't stop, and we would, go play basketball and then go hit the bars and go play volleyball and then, have something to drink, and it was just...
Did you ever cheat on him?
Yeah, I did not. So that's one thing, is that while no infidelity occurred, he was still as broken as if it did occur. And after this time, we had a certain amount of time, I can't remember if it was 6 months, we finally got to this breaking point where I think it hit me, and we went to a counselor and we saw a good priest, and over time, I would say about 2 years ago now, we got to a point where we were whole again. Sure. And while it still hurts for him, so this is why I'm calling, because, couples fight. So a couple days ago, a fight happened, and he brought up, stuff that happened, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 2 years ago, and he brings it into current fights. And while I want to be understanding of his wounds, and I totally know I hurt him, and he still has these trust issues, not only with me, but his past relationships. How can I be understanding and listen and be a good wife and listen, and not dwell on these past issues. I mean, I don't want to live in the past because I really didn't like how ugly of a person I was, but I have to know that that's still so fresh in his mind, and those probably trust issues are going to come up for a while yet. And how do we work around this, or how can I be more understanding of this while not, just dwelling on that person I was.
I think, number one, you've got to forgive yourself. And if your husband, through time with a counselor, through time with just time separate, right, for a couple of years since then, if your husband's forgiven you, if you sat with your pastor, your priest, and he said he forgives you, you've got to forgive you, number one. Number two, fights and painful moments, man, they dredge up old stuff, and things come firing out of us sometimes. And you've got to give him some grace too. But at the same time, if he said he forgives you, and he said he's ready to work on the marriage, this is 2 years ago, and y'all are whole and you're moving forward, then you're whole and you're moving forward. And so at some point, he's got to stop weaponizing the past also.
Right.
Now, I'm telling you that to tell you this. You cannot, in a heated moment, bring that up. That's not helpful. That's not supportive. Afterwards, right, y'all go to breakfast, you go have lunch, and you talk about the fight, and you say, hey, I didn't like what I said. I got frustrated, but I need you to not weaponize the past again. And you said you forgive me. You said we put that stuff down. I'm living this new life. I've recommitted to our relationship. We're 2 years away from that stuff now. Let's continue to move forward. And at some point, both of you have to put those bricks down and stop using them to burden yourselves, or stop using them as weapons. Or you just need to go your separate ways, right? And I'm not a fan of that at all. It sounds like you've reconciled it and y'all are back in the same place. But picking up old bricks to throw them at each other, it does nobody any good. It just leaves bloody, broken messes.
So even if he has forgiven me, like, obviously this hurt is still, it's still maybe more fresh in his mind than we would like it to be. Is that something where he needs to go see a counselor by himself? Would it be more beneficial for us to see a counselor together? We've had some sessions. We've obviously been through marriage counseling, for quite a while, but we haven't been to one for probably a year now. Or is that just something he needs to work? Maybe I should give him the option to work through himself, or if he wants me by his side.
Yeah, I think asking him, I think that's being a supportive partner, asking him to what he needs, what he would like, right? His role in this deal. Yeah, I think you're a year out after something that was tough for both of you. Whatever it works, y'all experience it as tough. So a year out, yeah, go get a tune-up, go check in. Let him know you didn't like the way that fight ended. You didn't like stuff coming up from a couple of years ago that you thought you were both past. You sound like you need help forgiving you, and you're still like to go back to the backyard and pick up old bricks and carry them around to the front yard every once in a while. We all do that. When I get sleepy and I haven't been eating well and I'm having moments of shame and self-doubt, I'll think of things I said when I was 14 that I wish I could have back. And I'm an old man now, and I don't know where those things come from, but they pop up, and I've got to be really diligent about controlling my thoughts and my behaviors and not giving them headspace to dwell and to take root again. But your husband's got to go do some work for himself. You mentioned he's got past relationships where he's got challenges. He obviously ran into some trust issues with you. He didn't like the way you were handling yourself, and let's be honest, I don't blame him, right? If he's working nights, he's feeling like he's supporting you, he's supporting this family, he's trying to grow this new house, and you basically started dating again. You didn't cheat on him, you didn't do anything that violated the letter of the law there, but for whatever reason, he was uncomfortable with you having a bunch of guy friends and going to bars and going to play and going to hang out and going to movies, which, again, I don't blame him. But at the same time, it's not like he talked to you. Y'all worked it out. You forgave each other. You went and got counseling, and now you've moved on to this new life. And so I don't want to belabor the point, but at some point, he's going to have to go do the work to get whole too, because he's still hanging on to stuff. And this is a broader conversation for everybody. This idea that once you forgive something and you look somebody in the eye and you say, I am done. I forgive you. I am giving you pardon, or you've paid your penance. We're back together here. To pick that back up and hit somebody with that is just violence. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help you. It doesn't heal them. I do understand saying things when you get frustrated, when you get sad, when you get upset. When your patience and your wisdom and your exhaustion thins out your decision-making ability, things pop out. I get that. But don't bring up stuff from the past just to abuse folks with. Don't do that. Don't do that. And if you feel yourself doing it, if you feel yourself that becoming your default setting, this is the third night this week, the dishes are out. Just like that time 3 years ago, don't do that. Don't do that. Because that becomes your issue, not theirs. And by the way, Katie, it wouldn't surprise me if there's behaviors going on in your heart, if there's a distance, a small gap, a wedge between the two of you that may be establishing itself again, that he feels, that he's beginning to feel this tension, this pull apart. And maybe I'm making that up. I'd love to talk to him at some point. But, man, leaning back into connection with him, taking him out this weekend and saying, I did not like the fight we had. I'm sorry for the role I played. But wow, when you brought up that stuff from 2 years ago, that hurt. Where did that come from? Why is that still there? I think that'd be wise. You reconnecting, Katie.